Hey, I'm so happy. You know why? Because it's council pickup time. It's the time of the year when people throw out their good stuff and put it out as rubbish to be picked up by the local council. In past videos, I have focused on barbecues. I'm always looking for a Dyson vacuum cleaner. I've got a good collection now of those. And if I see any cool toys, I'll take them down to the local charity shop. This video will be focusing on office chairs. Oh my goodness me. The scourge of those cheap and nasty office chairs. How many of those do you see thrown out? And why are they being thrown out? I think I know why, and maybe we'll investigate that in this video. Let's do it! Okie dokie, here's our first rubbish pile. No surprise there. There is a barbecue. Oh my goodness me, it doesn't look that old, but we're not looking at barbecues. That there is an office chair. And one wonders, why has it been thrown out? Well, it looks like the upholstery on this one has gone kerfunk. But often the gas strut on these things goes foot. Well, this one's had a bit of domestic rage. Totally busted. Here's a curious pile. There's some 500 watt work lights there. There was also a beautiful looking trophy here. I tell you, you find everything on these rubbish piles. And there was also over here, what I think is quite a lovely piece of furniture there. I mean, the other scourges I often see are the old style TVs, because those, well, basically digital TV has had everyone in Australia buy a new TV, so they're out. But if you ask me, maybe I'm seeing it wrong here. I think that's quite a nice piece of furniture. And what I always predict is that items like this get picked up before the council pick up just about every time. Okay, here is another one. It's one of those ones which has got that sort of, you know, softish sort of back. Usually I find those are ripped. Let's take a look at the gas strut on this one. It looks like it's all rusted up, but does it still work? That's the question. No, it's all locked up. Why aren't I surprised? There is one there, lovely red one. Let me just move this rusted stainless steel. Why does stainless steel rust today? Let me see this gas strut if it's working. This could be a very wonky shot. See if that gas strut works. It does. Surprise, surprise. Oh, holy Batcave. We've got some sort of Batman toy here. It's some sort of like multi-story play set. I wonder what this part here is. Oh, Gotham City, we have a winner. Well, there's some more rubbish here. I believe there's an office chair there. Well, someone forgot to basically love this office chair. It's here. There is a steamer here. That's another scourge of the rubbish piles. And I think this office chair has suffered the old, yes, the old gas strut collapse. And that is something that really happens a lot to these cheap and nasty office chairs. Well, I speak about barbecues, office chairs, microwave ovens is the other scourge I often see being put out in the rubbish piles, and someone has already come in and claimed some parts out of this one. I mean, what would you want in there? Now, my understanding is that these things are actually super dangerous and you can touch the wrong areas and get a really nasty electric shock. I think over there it's a Rogue Crazy Coupe. Let's check it out. Well, by the looks of it, some hooligans in the suburb here have taken this one out for a test drive and they've just left it crashed in the bush here. Let me see if it's a legitimate Little Tikes one. These toys are fantastic. Yeah, I did a bit of a study into these. Is it a real McCoy one? That's what I want to see. Don't get the other brands. The Little Tikes ones are the best. 1979, I think that's when it all started with these. That wouldn't be the age of this toy. Yeah, someone's taken it for a push bash and left it crashed. And just walking a bit further, I've just noticed another part of that Crazy Coupe, the Little Tikes car. I mean, that's a shame, because these cars, to buy these in Australia, they're a $100 toy, and you can actually get a fairly good resale on them if you know, put them up for sale. You can get, you know, $25, maybe $30. I mean, that's just horrendous. Well, the hooligans around here, I mean, God, guys, get a life. Well, I'm in the part of town where the wealthier people live. Some nice property around here. I live a long way from this part. Well, I told you I was in the ritzier part of town, and right in the middle of the screen I can see an office chair. Okay, one office chair, unknown deceased date. Yep, absolutely zero bounce. Well, that there's one of those GMC blowers. I lose count of those things that I see in rubbish piles. Quite often they are Ryobi. But hey, look at this mean machine here. Some sort of modded bike thing onto back wheels that look like that. I think they were called green machines or something like that. It might not be a green machine. Oh yes, it's got green machine wheels. Well, here's a nice little scenic bushwalk. I'm walking right to the bottom of this very ritzy area. Not many people know about this secret walk. That's in the suburb. You've got to be careful. There's sometimes snakes and other things down here. I think the trick is to make lots of noise. Rah, rah, rah. Now, thump your feet on the ground, and the little snakes and big ones will scurry away. And you've got to be careful here. There's sightings of Bigfoots and things that get about in this very, very spooky part of the suburb. Well, I got through without being attacked by the Bigfoot or the snakes, and apart from some stuff on the side of the road down here, this is also the area where there's a ton of people who do big Christmas lights. Well, here's a very interesting find. To me, this looks like a very nice old piece of furniture. Oh boy, look at the window detailing there. It seems such a shame to see this out on the rubbish piles. Oh, I don't know much about furniture. Sometimes furniture can look old, but it might just be rubbish. Maybe you can tell me about this. How good are your eyes when looking at this stuff? You gotta look at where the timbers join and the sort of way it's finished off. That's the underneath part. Apart from a ton of spiders that have lived under here, it looks a little bit roughened up, but who knows, it could be very valuable. Well, look at these three very plastic and metal toys here. That one there's a Tonka truck. I don't think these two are, because I looked on the tyres. Like all these toys these days, they get rusted. The plastic gets affected by the sun. I mean, it's not in too bad of condition. There's a snow living under there, turbos under there. But the problem is really the rust. I mean, look at this. Okay, really bad. And if you know your Tonka trucks, you'll know that the earlier ones never suffer from this sort of really bad rust. This seems to be what goes on with them these days. And any sort of passing them on down to another generation, well, it's basically zero. Well, I dare say someone's had some play with those. Might have been multiple children. They've had their play date. They've had their day in the sun. And yes, here is one very fancy looking barbecue. I spoke about barbecues in a previous looking at the rubbish video. This one seems, well, totally exotic. I'd hate to think how much that would have cost when it was bought. It wouldn't be that old, I don't think. But what I find that goes wrong with these, and I think this might be the case in this one, let me get my exposure correct, is the burners here tend to get fried up and burnt up. And these are the things that fail on these barbecues. That's not meant to happen. Look at that there. That's the problem with these barbecues these days. It has been astonishing how many barbecues I see on the rubbish piles. I told you there were some maniac Christmas lights people down here. This house here, when it's lit up, is quite amazing. Well, there's some rubbish over there. There is a lawnmower over there, but over here is a little family, of all things, of office chairs. Well, this one here, the gas strut still works, so I don't know why it's out in the piles. It actually looks in pretty good nick. This one here, the gas strut is frozen in the up position, if that makes any sense, so I can't get that one to move at all. And this one here, I think it's just old and tatty, lost its side arm there, and I think the gas thing in this still works, only just. Whoa, how about this for fun? I've just found like a wooden toy garage. It's obviously BP, British Petroleum. It looks very, very cool. And I'm not sure whether that's something like a very cool toy from the past or something that's been made up as a project, but I like it a lot. I think anyone could come along and play in that. Well, I did have a bit of a chuckle at this one. It's actually a toy barbecue. Just like the real big barbecues, this one's out in the rubbish pile. It's got a missing knob there, and I think the burners, yes, the burners are all burnt out. Oh, I thought I got lucky there. It's only the box, but what was next to all this was this. Look, here, it is a telescope, and we can go and basically look for a planet now, if I can get in there. Well, okay, this is the same rubbish pile as when I last saw in the previous video where they had stuff where they had their names on it. And if you remember, these people had a passion for Apple stuff. It looks like that passion continues. They're leaving their boxes out. Probably empty, I dare say. Lovely boxing on Apple gear. But next to the Apple stuff, well, there is a blender here. It doesn't look like it's done that much work. What brand is it? Breville. I always thought Breville was a pretty good brand. I've been through a few blenders, as you'd know. There's also a toaster here. Tefal, probably said it completely wrong. It looks stunning. I mean, why is it out in the rubbish pile? But the thing we're looking at in this video, of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is office chairs. And this thing here looks like the Grand Master of office chairs. Looks like it's done a fair bit of work, but it also looks like the gas strut, as always, has collapsed. Well, I'm trying to manipulate that piston on this thing. It is totally dead. Totally dead. I told you I was in the ritzier part of town. These people leave good indicators of what's going on inside, don't they? That's the thing you shouldn't do when you're putting stuff out in the rubbish pile. Well, I wasn't going to get too carried away talking about barbecues, but let's take a bit of a closer look at this one. It's quite an elaborate jumbuck barbecue. It's one of the nicest ones I've seen on the side of the road. I'll take a peek inside and see where the trouble lies. It's like the burners, well, they're all trashed. And from what I can see, this barbecue has had a fairly industrious life. It looks like it has been used a lot. But to be honest here, if you could replace this part here, I'm pretty sure you get it back up and running. This is the only problem that I can see going on this barbecue. The burners are completely and utterly destroyed. Apart from the burners being in trouble there's a fair bit of surface rust and stuff on this barbecue. This is another little area where you can cook stuff on. It would have been quite an elaborate, expensive machine when it was purchased. I actually don't think that this is this old. We're going to try and investigate the age of this. Once again, a lot of surface rust there. Some bits of, I don't know if it's real or fake stainless steel, and there is rust going on down the side there as well. Nice featured barbecue unit, nice drawers in there, some tools in there, a bit of a knife left behind. I think this is a bin area here. These doors opened up, the gas cylinder looks like it's stored in there. Then we're going to look at this very shortly. And there was an area here for more storage, and there was a bit up here with a bit of a gas knob. Well, first thing I'd like to look at is the part where the gas actually goes into the barbecue. And there is a little date stamp under here. Well, there it says made in China. Why aren't we surprised? If we go down here, there is a box there with 11 and some dots. Are those dots months of the year? And what does that 11 mean? On the back of the door where you put the gas cylinder in, there is this chart here. There is a date of manufacture there. It says 26/11. Now, is that a year or a month? Or what is that? I'm very curious to know when this was made versus when it was thrown out, being the end of 2015. Well, I better make tidy again. I hate to leave a mess. I'm surprised it hasn't been picked up because of the scrap metal, but then again, maybe this one's got too much mild steel in it. The scrap boys certainly love anything that looks like stainless steel. Oh, fancy this, it's another office chair. That's the sort of thing I want to be focusing on. It doesn't look in too bad a condition. Let me try the levers. I dare say that maybe it has got collapsed strut. Oh no, it's still working. Oh, that's a bit of a mystery, isn't it? In fact, if I push this other one, I think it's still working as well. But now I take a bit more of a scrutiny, I can see the problem area. It looks like it's right here on that upholstery bit there, broken away, and it's steel of all things underneath there. Very sharp, nasty steel. Okay, another very mixed pile of rubbish here. Wow, I can see a very cool toy there. That's one that I love, microchargers. First time I've seen them out the rubbish heap. There's a little remote control car just down there. There is an office chair here, because we're trying to focus on office chairs, aren't we, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Looks like the back of this one is off. Don't really want to get in and touch that one. Miscellaneous everything over here, over in the dark. I'm trying to get the exposure right. Sorry if it's looking a bit wonky. That stuff there, is that's real McCoy stuff, or is that just the knockoff stuff? You know the toy. I can't think of the name at the moment. I can't think of the name, I'm sorry. There's another component of it over here. Hey, skate something, you'll tell me. That's a little remote control car there, F-150, but it's not real remote control, it's one of the ones that's dragging a bit of a wire. One of the El Cheapo styles. And this toy here, microchargers, wow. That's the other side of the box there. And there's actually part of the track in there. That's actually not a bad little find, because my son loves this toy here. There's this really nice custom made little table. It would have been some children growing up around that. I like things like that. There's also, I think it's a hex bug circuit. There's also a knockoff version of that, and there is a little remote control helicopter here. And that's another thing, I often see the remnants of these thrown out in rubbish piles. I could almost pull a special just looking at toys like that. Okay, well, there's a barbecue there, but we're not talking about barbecues, are we? There is an office chair just down there. Okay, well, the upholstery is a bit gone on this one, and also the gas strut has gone. Not surprised at all. Not surprised at all. Okay, there's one there. It's a bit windy here. I've played with it. The gas strut still works with that one, but over here, and I haven't seen too many of these on this walk around, it's a little El Cheapo vacuum cleaner, and I'm not at all surprised to see that in the rubbish piles. There's the info on this one. I'd love to see a year date, because I tell you what, I bet you this isn't too old. And it's been a bit strange because there hasn't been that many vacuum cleaners out in the rubbish pile. If I was focusing on vacuum cleaners, I would have seen barely any. Good night, sister. Well, there's a surfboard. I told you can find anything in these rubbish piles, and that there is an office chair, but I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to disrupt the pile of rubbish. Well, these look a bit trashed out, don't they? Sorry about the wind noise, it's a little bit windy. That's a very, very old tatty one. Office chair there. And there's a car seat there as well. Like I said, you see hundreds of these office chairs out in the rubbish piles. Well, I've got these cats. I hope it's not Friday the 13th. There's a beautiful black cat there. I'm just looking at rubbish, and these cats have come up to me. Come here, put, very friendly, aren't they? And I've got another one just here. I dare say these guys are friends. Oh, look at that. Oh, put, come on. Give you a scratch. Come on. There we go. Oh, getting up again. Where's this black one? Hey, come here. I don't want to miss you. Come here. Good, good. Hey, you guys talk to each other? You're going to talk a bit of cat for me? Hey, you going to talk a bit of cat? Meow. 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 Well, those guys are obviously having a bit of a funky time there on the gravel, having a bit of a play. But over here, there's a bubble machine. And I know these bubble machines. I've burnt through a few of these. That one there, do you know that bubble machine there? The cat's coming over for an inspection of it. They're, well, let's just say, they're not too crash hot. Maybe you've had better ones than me. Yes, it's a cat's life looking at rubbish, isn't it? Real cat's life. And the other one's come over for some more attention. Good pussy cats, good guys, hey? Cats in the rubbish piles. There's another pile of rubbish. It is another vacuum cleaner. Like I said before, there's not many vacuum cleaners in this one. It's a Piranha. I don't know much about these. It's just a little thing. Let's look at the year date if it's got one. Okay, there is their Piranha Gem. It actually says 2004. So I might as well call that, oh, just over 10 years. That's not bad. I love making these styles of videos. If I had one style of video I could make for YouTube, this would be my favourite style. They're not popular, but hopefully they are educational and have you thinking about the direction we're headed. I focus on office chairs because I purchased an Ikea office chair around about 3 years ago. Within a year, the gas strut has failed, and it had me searching for a solution, before I get hit by a car, to fix it. I actually found it by Googling, and many other people have had this problem. It's a very common problem. And if I do a cutaway to some footage of how I fixed it, that'll explain the method I used, basically hose clamps and some aluminium angle, and it was basically fixed. It doesn't, you know, bounce and be soft anymore, but at least it sits at the height that I want. You know, I speak to people I know, and I go around looking at rubbish piles, and you'll often hear people say, wow, the amount of barbecues that you see being thrown out is astonishing. And yes, it is. And what makes it more astonishing is when you start to investigate how old those barbecues are. It's actually a little bit scary. Hey, there's an office chair right here. I've got to look at it. Well, there it is there. It's actually in pretty good nick. I've actually had a bounce on it. The gas strut still works, and I can show you that like this. So the question is, why is it thrown out? I did notice that it's actually made in Taiwan, not China. Well, it's another pile of miscellaneous rubbish, and there is another office chair. It looks in pretty good nick. Mind you, inspecting the piston underneath, it's suffering piston shock. Well, buried away in there is an Electrolux vacuum cleaner. I would love to have had a look at that one. But up here is the carcass of an office chair. Just the bottom bit, the top is totally missing. Actually starting to get lucky. The vacuum cleaners, dust flowed. You know, the one 1400, no date on that. I can't see a date at all. What really brings it home to me is when I think about the things that my mum purchased back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and sort of into the 90s. Much of that stuff lasted way past 10 years. It lasted into 15, 20 years old. And our Kelvinator fridge, the mum purchased back in the early 60s, it lasted 42 years. Where's the fridge today that you buy that will last 42 years? I don't think they exist anymore. I'm sort of wondering, wow, mum's house is full of stuff that's lasted many, many years. My home isn't. It's sort of sad because I'm in this spiral of having to buy something and replace something very frequently. Mum never had that. Mum's 90, and in her life, like, she didn't have to buy multiples and multiples of vacuum cleaners. She didn't have to buy, what's another one? A microwave oven. She bought one in the 1990s, a Japanese made. It's still there, okay? I sort of think it all fell apart in the late 90s. There's something that went on in the 90s where things started to be made sort of cheaper. A lot of the stuff was being made in China, and that's when we all, I think, became far poorer for it. Oh, we love our rubbish piles, don't we? Yes, there's an office chair there, and this is quite a curious one because I can see a sticker on there that says made in Australia. Give me a break. Now, that sticker could have been added on there any time. Let's investigate to see if this has really been made in Australia. If it is, well, that's going to be a real shock to the system. Well, I'm looking for a company name or something on that metal there. I can't see it. I might need the audience's help on this one. This is the older style. It's more mechanically based than hydraulics. And there's a great big gouge right in there. I don't know if it's a piston or whether it's a screw thread type. Well, it's a bit of a mystery one. Maybe someone out there in audience land will know. Is that chair there made in Australia? Did Australia ever make office chairs? Well, there is a dinosaur toy. You know those ones? I think they were sold in Kmart. Tails busted there. It's sitting on an office chair, and it's one of the ones where the hydraulics, yep, they're gone. That's broken down there. Also noticed one of these razors. It's the one which has the back like that. You know, that sort. Now, apart from the office chair, the dinosaur, and the razor scooter over the back there, there is one of these heaters. Do you know the style of heater? I often see these out in the rubbish piles, and there is a year date on this one. How old do you think that item there is? It's 2015 when I'm making this video. Well, there's the information. Date of manufacture, 25th of the 4th, 2011. So, going by my maths, this heater isn't very old, but I'm not surprised. We tend to just buy junk these days. Well, over there's one of the ugliest buildings in my suburb. I don't know how council let it through. It is a magnet for graffiti, and no one wants to lease those buildings there. They've been empty for years. And down there, lo and behold, it's an office chair. I'd hate to drift from the theme of this video. I gotta love a mixed drab of rubbish on the side of the road. I do like it. There is a cement mixer there. And here is another one of those heaters. Now, I wonder how old this one is here. You want to take a guess? The bottom's all rusted out. Must have been a real quality unit. Well, I'm reading there the 1st of the 31st, 2011. It's disgusting, isn't it? This thing hasn't lasted very long. I'm making this video in 2015. I just found this very friendly cockatoo. See if I can come up to him. Hey, Cocky! Hello, Cocky! Hello, Cocky! Pretty boy, Cocky! Pretty boy, Cocky! Whoa! Pretty boy's got away, Cocky! Absolutely stunning birds. I'm assuming it's a wild one. It's having a good feed there. I'm actually getting fairly close to it. Some of them you can get close, but some of them can be fairly wary of you as well. Well, you know, I often say you don't see Dyson vacuum cleaners put out in the rubbish piles very often. Well, I believe that is one right there. It's a little way from where I live, but we're going to come in and pick this one up. Oh yeah, it's a Dyson, alright. It's one of the little ball upright vacuum cleaners. It looks pretty cool indeed. Pretty darn cool. It's a DysonDC24. Looks like it's had a fairly good life, but I'm a bit curious as to why this Dyson is out in the rubbish pile. So how good are you at counting? How many office chairs did I feature in this video? I'd like to know. As always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.